homophobia, this default Latina, resting Latina face. You put a caption that she really is funny. Spanking Machine brought to you by, what does hot 2020 and being queer mean to me? Being queer in 2020 means more masturbation. It also means that I should have had sex in January and February when it was offered. And now it looks like just self-love for the rest of the year. I don't know if my vibrator can make it to 2021. Also, being queer in 2020 means that I see my community come back to where it was. Stonewall was before my time, but it was a rebellion by queer people of color, trans people, working class people in New York. And now it's like we're remembering, even people who are so young are starting to understand where we came from and what we are part of. We're part of a bigger movement than just being LGBTQIA. So that is a great thing because, wow, we were getting pretty corporate there. But I love, another thing I love about Hotfest is that it is part of our history, that it always has been the radical queer voice. And we have been sort of pushed away by the mainstream corporate co-option of our movement. And now we're taking it back. Also, kudos to queer liberation and reclaiming pride, because that's also a great thing to see. So it's wonderful to be able to do this virtual live streaming performance, at least in the context of our exploding consciousness. In solidarity with Black Lives Matter, what I'm most excited about for theater is to be a theater goer and to have the opportunity to see more plays that reflect the life that I know and the people that I know, and aren't about these upper class, privileged, white characters, that it's going to be about people who have not been represented enough, and it's going to be from writers who are finally getting their voices heard. Oh, there have been notable people, trying to crack this code in theater for a long time, but now it's like, it's like time's up for that too. White cis theater gatekeepers, people of color are going to be taking their seat at the table, right? And women as well. And so it's really cool. I just want to mention that Spanking Machine had its first public performance in January of 2019, and this show wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for a Black artist, playwright, and director of the Cold Read Festival that is part of Syracuse Stage. And he's just a great playwright, but he also is this amazing curator. And part of his mission was to find playwrights and solo performers to be presented at this festival. And so I just want to thank Kyle E. Bass up in Syracuse, and your plays, of course, are all over the country. Thank you for making this happen. What should audiences be excited about the virtual rendition of this piece? Well, I can't even think of it that way. I mean, I think this is the story. I mean, for the last year, I've been workshopping this show virtually, and I'm a solo performer anyway, so it's not too different than what I do. I think what they should be excited about is just the piece itself. The fact that you're going to watch it, at your house. I guess you don't have to wear pants, and you can just like snack, and I suppose you can look at your cell phone, and you can do all these things you're not supposed to do in the theater. So it might be kind of comfortable, reclining seats. Oh my gosh, sometimes theater seats aren't that comfortable, although at Dixon Place they are. So what I think audiences should be excited about, that was the question I got. But what's really cool is that the show I think it's original and it's fresh, although, there's really 3 stories of inhumanity, but it evolved. I didn't know what it was going to be, and it seems that working through it in this genre that we have now, this online thing, has actually made me discover more about the story than I would have if I had just been playing at a black box theater, if I'd just been doing my world premiere at Dixon Place, which this kind of is, but it's a World Wide Web premiere. It's a story about being brown and queer and growing up in Washington Heights. It's a story about being a female in a dangerous world for females, and in dangerous situations, but also in being resilient. And overall, it's a comedy with a few roller coaster twists and turns, and it's emotional. It's very personal. It's very vulnerable. But I actually performed Spanking Machine last year at Hot Fest up at the Dixon Lounge, and it was a reading, and I didn't even know what I had until the audience just was wild through the whole thing, even through the parts that could make you so sad and anxious. They were just wild. I mean, there was a lot of liquor flowing, to be honest. This question, Dixon Place, you're asking me what have I been eating during the pandemic? This is what you want to know? All right, okay. What have I been eating during the pandemic? Well, what have I been eating during the pandemic? Nobody. Not a soul. Come on, you set me up for that with that question, but I will tell you what I have been eating. I have been eating so much. I haven't been eating any of the cans of food that I bought when shelter in place was called, like all of us. No, I just went and I'm eating toilet paper. No, that's not true. I've been eating a lot of cheese. The question really that you want to know is, what have you been drinking, Marga? Quite a bit. It's definitely something I got to stop. I got to stop all of this. I was a whole 30 fit person. I want to tell you, first of all, I'm wearing a hat and I'm not sure what's going to be going on with my hair. In this version of Spanking Machine you're going to see, I will be adding a few video clips from the last time I performed it in San Francisco before an audience, and I had a great haircut. But in San Francisco, the hair salons are not allowed to be open yet. But, true story, you can get Botox. I don't know how that works. So what I what I want you to, and I don't know, maybe this is something that'll make people excited, but when you watch Spanking Machine, and I do hope you'll buy a ticket, also have proceeds go to organizations to empower Black lives. But when you watch Spanking Machine, keep in mind that the camera adds 10 pounds and the pandemic adds 15 more. So there'll be more to love. But sometimes I rub it and I make a wish, and I wish that all the theaters in America will eventually change the leadership to people of color. I wish maybe, I do think it does have magic powers.